Hi, Yefo. Welcome to your first lesson in social studies of this week. This week we continue learning about geography and specifically we'll be focusing on the Americas. So let me get started. Right, I have the PowerPoint presentation ready, so all you have to do basically is to sit back, listen, and make sure you understand the instructions. Because as I noticed last time, many of us probably didn't watch the video and got the activity wrong. Not the activity actually, but they were uploading the wrong thing. So please do make sure you watch this just to make sure that you understand what's going on and what you're expected to do. All right, perfect, brilliant. Brains ready, let's go. Okay, so what are we learning in this class? In this class, we are going to use geographical terminology. Again, what is geographical terminology? Geographical terminology is, I'd say, they are words that we use to describe many things in geography. So last time you had a word search, there were words like southern, northern hemisphere, latitude, longitude, Tropic of Capricorn, Cancer. Those are geographical terminology, okay? So now you are going to be using these words to describe the location of different places across the Americas. Right, success criteria. How will you know that you reach the objectives? Well, you will be able to use maps or atlases to locate countries and regions of the Americas. And you will be able to tell me the geographical location and key characteristics of different places across the Americas. Okay, that's what we are going to be doing in this class. All right, perfect. So a quick recap, we're going to be using some linking, okay, connection finding. Let's just again try to remember what we talked about in the previous class, okay. So here we have the significant lines of latitude, okay, which is the equator, which lays at 0 degrees. Then we have the Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degrees, the same as Tropic of Capricorn, 23.5, whereas Cancer lays north, Capricorn lays south of the equator. Same with Arctic Circle. Arctic Circle lays at 66.5 degrees north, and Antarctic Circle will be 66.5 degrees south. Right, if you guys want to go into details here, you can always click on the bottom, okay? So what is an Antarctic Circle? Imaginary line around the southernmost part of the Earth, okay? Circles the South Pole. Just a little bit more information on each, okay? What is Arctic Circle? Okay, northernmost, it's an imaginary line that circles the northernmost part of the Earth. Um, and then you have a little bit of information about each, but I do hope that you already know this information. I think the most important thing is to know about the degrees and where they lay, and whether they lay in the north or in the south, which hemisphere do they lay in, okay? And remembering the degrees. So again, equator 0, tropics 23.5, Arctic, Antarctic circles 66.5. You just need to work out which one is north and south. Perfect. Now, unlike the United Arab Emirates, so here we have a map of the UAE. Everyone knows this map. We are very familiar with it. Unlike the United Arab Emirates, the Americas cover a huge area of the globe, extending over several lines of latitude and longitude. This means that the characteristics of different countries and regions vary significantly. These will include things like temperature, rainfall, vegetation, and land use. Okay, so guys, if we go back to basically these, okay, if you remember, we had about 5 different climate zones. So between the tropics, we have the tropical climate zone. Between tropics and Arctic Circle, that's a temperate zone. And then around the Arctic Circle, that's a polar zone. So it very much depends. The climate and weather, vegetation, land use very much depend on where the country lays on the globe, okay? So obviously, Norway, which is here, that lays around or very close to the Arctic Circle, will have a completely different weather to the UAE that lays here, okay? Actually, the UAE lays kind of close to the Tropic of Cancer, and it's in the tropical region when it comes to the weather. So that's that. So here is the UAE, okay? UAE, let's compare the size of the UAE to the Americas. So if we actually compare them, okay, you will see that how the UAE is tiny compared to the Americas, okay? I think it's even smaller than that. So you can imagine how many climate zones and how many lines of latitude basically cross through the Americas as compared to the UAE, okay? The UAE would probably have just a couple of them, whereas Americas have loads of them running through them. That's why it had so many different types of weather, climates, vegetation, or everything you can imagine. Okay, now you will have an activity to do. You will use maps. You can use Google Maps, okay? Atlases. If you guys have an atlas at home, it's preferable that you use that one. Information books and the internet to help you complete geographical locations and characteristics activity sheets. Now, what is your activity going to be like? Now, basically, you have two cities here, okay? You have the city of Anchorage in Alaska. If you remember, we talked about the United States of America. United States of America has 50 states. One of them is Alaska. And Anchorage is one of the cities in Alaska. So we will be, or you will be searching information about this particular city. And then we have Rio de Janeiro. Okay. All right. First piece of information, state and or country. Okay. So basically, we know that Anchorage is in the state of Alaska. So for the state, I would write Alaska. And Alaska is in the USA. Okay. So you will have to write Alaska/USA. Then Rio de Janeiro, no need to look for the state, you will need to look for the country Rio is in. I think many of you already know, especially football fans would probably know what country Rio de Janeiro is in, but I'll leave that to you. And then capital city. Okay, actually, Rio de Janeiro is already a capital city, so in this section you can just write it. Rio de Janeiro is a capital city of, you need to write the country, and maybe you can look for the capital city of Alaska, or the main or most important city of Alaska. Anyway, then guys, coordinates, latitude and longitude. Okay, now you have to, at this point, you have to go on the internet and you have to look up Anchorage, Alaska, and now coordinates, okay? And it will come up. Guys, this is very detailed, 61.2181 minutes, okay? Guys, it's enough to just write 61.2, just one decimal point, okay? 61.2 and 149.9 west, okay? North and west. So this is obviously latitude, that is longitude. You will find everything online, so you don't have to worry about not being able to find the information. You need to write what hemisphere it's on, northern, southern, what is the size, area. Again, you will be Googling the size or area of Anchorage, Alaska, okay? Natural features or physical features. You will need to write physical features of Anchorage. If you can't find any physical features of that particular city, you can put in physical features of Alaska, okay? Then the time zone. Guys, you remember, this will be a bit of linking for you. We did have time zones before in in geography and social studies. So I need you to remember that, or if you want, you can open a picture with time zones, okay, and see which time zone it is. Remember GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, that's a 0. That means this line, this is a line, this is where the prime meridian crosses, the prime meridian crosses the UK at Greenwich. So this is the main point of time. So all the other times, it's either +1, +2, +3. So you will have to write the time zone in terms of GMT and then plus or minus the number. You will need to find out. Okay, and then you will need to look up the weather. I believe you will find, not that I believe, I know you will find all of this information on Google. So off you go Googling. Then there is a task number 2, which is on the bottom. You probably can't see it in this frame that I'm showing you. But it says, find and describe other places in the world that share similar physical features with each of your chosen locations in the Americas. Explain why this might be the case. So this is an extra bonus question for you. All right. Please take a picture of this, submit on ClassDojo. Right, now we need to think about, if I want to be successful in this task, what do I need to do? First of all, of course, I need to follow instructions in order to submit what the teacher asked for, right? Regarding ACPs, which ones did we use in this lesson? And in this lesson was a bit of meta thinking, okay, and strategy planning. So I use my existing knowledge, what I already know. We already know about latitude, longitude, we know about coordinates, we know about time zones, and I determined a way to think about my task. So I did give you a hint. However, I would really like you to strategy plan and know what should you actually mention in each one of the columns on that worksheet. So you will be doing some strategy planning and at the same time complex and multi-step problem solving. You will break down the task, okay, and choose the steps to help you solve it, okay? So you guys know by now what you should do in order to solve that or do that worksheet properly. This time, this time answer key is not attached in the PowerPoint. I would really like you to work it out on your own and show me what you got. All right, something to think about at the end. So how are the places you have studied different to the UAE? Obviously, okay, Anchorage, Alaska, and Rio de Janeiro. How are they? Just think about it, okay? How are they similar? How are they different to the UAE? What's different about the weather? What's different about the physical features in these countries when you compare them? Everything. So where would you prefer to live? I would definitely not prefer to live in Alaska. That would be very cold for me. However, Rio, I wouldn't mind that much. But just try to compare it to the UAE, what we have here, what kind of weather we have here, and what weather do these other places get, and vegetation such as plants and other things as well. All right, at the end, if you can, please reflect on your learning, see where you are, see where you think you are. If you can print it out, brilliant. If you can't, don't worry. So yeah, do your reflection anyway. And basically, that's it for the first lesson. Looking forward to the second lesson. Good luck in your activity.